Oh no! Another Trump cultist just got screwed over by his orange God King. I just came across a tweet posted by a Trump cultist, and he is just whining and freaking out and panicked because he and his wife just found out that Donald Trump screwed them over. Let me read what he wrote. All caps. Attention! Please help! President Trump and Ted Cruz. My wife is a nurse and was recently hired by the VA. Our home is packed up. We have a new home. We spent thousands to move our family from Fort Worth to Waco. Following Trump's hiring freeze executive order, the VA rescinded her job offer. My wife is in tears and inconsolable, and my family is devastated. It has been my wife's dream to work with needy disabled veterans. I'm a disabled vet. Now our home is lost, with no clear path of what to do. Her job was to start in 2 weeks. We are all huge Trump supporters, and I know this was an unintended consequence. I'm sure veterans' medical care professionals were not the target of this executive order. Please help get this message to the White House so that President Trump can fix this error. Veterans need not be affected because of out-of-control government spending elsewhere. Please help retweet this so Donald Trump is made.
As we anxiously await Donald Trump's big announcement moments from now on whatever this trade deal is he has with some country, some big deal, did you know that Melania, his wife, has spent less than 14 days at the White House since he's been inaugurated? I mean, I can't blame her. I wouldn't want to be there either with him, would you? But no one has any idea what this deal is going to be, and the comments from my video on this yesterday are just hilarious. All the guesses, like that it's the penguins, the island with the penguins, that'd be hilarious too. But one thing I can say is if this deal is not with China, it doesn't really change anything. He's got to fix the deal with China. That has to be done. That's the deal that is impacting everything majorly. So if it's not a deal with China, it's not a big announcement. It's a nothing burger. So it better be with China, because if it's not, I'll be really disappointed. A lot of Americans will be really disappointed and really upset and pissed off, I think. Right? That's how I'm going to feel. You probably will too. Let me know what you think. And remember, it's not with China and it doesn't include anything with TikTok. Make sure you go to my link tree and follow me on the other platforms so you can keep checking the 411 every day.
Your groceries are about to get a whole lot more expensive. Check this out. Turns out that farmers in California, you know, that state you hate because Fox News told you to, well, that state produces a whole heck of a lot of the food you eat. Anyway, farmers in that state are reporting that a lot of the people who pick the crops aren't showing up for work, meaning they're not picking the crops. Why? Well, because a lot of those people, a whole lot of those people, are undocumented immigrants. And they are afraid that they are going to be rounded up by our new fascist president. And so they're not showing up out of fear. And those crops, well, they're being left to rot in the fields. So what's going to happen? Well, the price of your groceries is going to go through the roof. So congratulations. You voted for a fascist authoritarian criminal because you were upset at the price of groceries, and now you just...
Hey, good morning. The protest yesterday at the Columbia University Library. Let's talk about it. Yesterday, during finals week, mind you, I know this because my son is a college student, which, you know, the library was at full capacity. Kids are studying for their finals at Columbia University, and a large group of pro-Palestine protesters decided to go into the library and start making a big scene, disrupting every single student in that library who was studying for their finals, okay? Jumping on the tables, throwing books, screaming. Mind you, all of them completely covered their faces, you know. And in a stunning turn of events, instead of Columbia University just standing there and allowing this garbage to continue to happen, they shut the doors and didn't let them out. And then, what cowards do, they start freaking out and try to bum rush the door. So what Columbia University, while getting the authorities there, said, if you want to leave this premises, you will show us your student ID and your current government valid ID, or you don't leave. And you want to know what I say to the Columbia University? Good job. It's about time. This is what accountability looks like when you go and act a fool on your college campus and then cover your faces so no one knows who you are, right? Because you're standing for a cause. No, you're not. You're just standing for what's popular at the moment, right? And you walking into that library during finals week, disrupting every other student there that's paying for an education because of your obsession over a war that you have nothing to do with, right? And you literally know nothing about. You just listen to people on social media, so you thought you were going to make headlines the next day as the tough group of kids that you are, until the doors were locked. Yeah, they tried to bum rush the door. That wasn't going to happen. Then they called their friends, and their friends came to the outside, tried to break them out, and that didn't happen. And lo and behold, arrests were made. Here's the thing. This type of chaos is going to continue if you allow it to continue. If you allow this kind of behavior to continue on your campuses, it's going to continue to happen. Therefore, stopping every other kid who chooses not to be a complete and utter buffoon to be able to get an education there. Because while you allow this nonsense on your college campuses to continue, you are actively stopping everybody else who doesn't want to act like a complete and buffered buffoon to not get an education, okay? So every single one of these kids, once accountability came knocking and the doors were closed and they were then locked in the library, and to be held accountable, you need to show us exactly who you are. Take your cute little robes off your face, show us your government ID and your college degree and your college ID. And what I hope happens to every one of these students is they get kicked out of college and probably catch a charge. I think that would be good too. Because if you are so emboldened to stand for such a big cause that you are so passionate about, well, you should show your whole face. You shouldn't cower behind in robes. It was probably one of the best moves Columbia University made, was locking those doors and not letting these kids out until they proved who they were. And every single one of these kids should be thrown off campus, and your college degree should go bye-bye. That's what accountability looks like. Now, I'm not saying you can't protest on a college campus. There are designated areas where you are able to protest once you get a permit to say that you're going to protest and what you're going to protest. These kids don't do that. They don't follow the rules. They don't follow the university's rules. So if you're not going to sign and follow a code of conduct when you sign up for college, then you shouldn't be allowed to be in that college anymore. And that's what accountability looks like, right? Okay. Under the past 4 years of the Joe Biden administration, they've allowed these kind of horrible protests to start. And usually what happens, it happens on the weekends and at night, and usually turns pretty violent, and it happens pretty quickly. And if you don't stop this nonsense and behavior from happening, it's going to continue to happen. So kudos to Columbia University for locking the doors and basically showing every single one of them what their ID was, logging who they were, and getting arrested. Because when you sign up for college, you sign a code of conduct, okay? And if you're not going to follow the code of conduct of that college, then you shouldn't be able to be employed as a college kid at those colleges anymore. There are thousands of kids in America that would love the chance to study at an Ivy League school and would follow the code of conduct. Not only did you disrupt that entire school, you disrupted every single one of your college roommates and classmates that were studying for finals week with your little skit in the library, and you just thought you were going to walk off campus and go back to your normal studies. Well, college, university, and they said, no, we're not doing that. And you're going to be arrested because you're not going to come on this campus and disrupt everybody else's week of studying during finals. Colleges, let me give you a little news flash. If you allow this kind of Nazi kind of behavior, it's going to continue to happen, and it's going to spread to more colleges. And what you're doing by allowing this nonsense to happen is basically telling all the other kids there that are studying and doing the right thing and following the code of conduct, yeah, doesn't matter. These kids can go and do things like this, and we don't really care that it's disrupting your college education. So kudos to the university for shutting the doors and not allowing any of these kids out. A lot of arrests were made, and these kids went to jail, and I have a funny feeling a lot of them, their college career just ended abruptly by their actions. Here's the thing that a lot of the younger generation don't understand. Let me just make it really clear to you. Actions have consequences. And your consequences after that little stunt at the library during finals week at an Ivy League school is now going to give you consequences of being kicked out of that school, your college degree being over and done with, and now you have a charge on your record. For what? For a country that's been at war for years, that has nothing to do with you, because you saw some people on social media that you allowed to influence your mind and thinking, and you thought you were going to fight the good fight. This is what needs to happen in this country. You have to stop allowing this kind of behavior, because if you allow this kind of behavior, more of the behavior will ensue. So kudos to Columbia University for arresting every single one of those kids, and I hope every one of them get kicked out of college, and if their scholarships were given, that should be revoked. And if they're here on a student visa, they should probably go be sent back to the home country where they belong. This is the kind of nonsense that's called accountability. That doesn't happen here on Florida campuses because our great governor, Ron DeSantis, wouldn't allow it. They tried once at USF downtown here in St. Pete. Sprinklers were turned on and those kids went running home. Guess what never happened again? One of those. Accountability. If you keep allowing this nonsense to happen, it's going to continue to happen. So kudos to Columbia University. And yeah. It was fun. It was good to see. It was good to see that these kids are going to be held accountable. And I hope every single one of them loses their college degree. So, accountability, man. You got to love it. After watching 4 years of this garbage take over streets and city blocks and college campuses, here comes accountability. Trump comes in and goes, yeah, we're not going to do this. If you allow this kind of crap to happen, we're going to pull all of your federal funding. And one by one, these colleges are bowing and saying, okay, we're going to comply. We don't want our federal funding to go away. Accountability. It's like the adults are back in charge again. When you allow the behavior will continue. When you stand up and go, no, we're not going to allow this kind of behavior, the behavior stops. Good talk.
Well, good morning, and thank you so much for joining
NCZ News.
Yeah, let me tell you how the Democrats is crumbling, okay? Going against their own, and how DEI went horribly wrong. Bars. Okay, now they trying to remove this Democratic judge from her seat. First of all, I want to say that I've seen a lot of judges, okay, especially lately, do all these things, walk people out the back door, and you have to really do something for them to want to remove you from your seat, okay? No suspension, no nothing like that, okay? But they're claiming that because she lied in her 2020 election about her military service, okay? They're saying she said she was a captain and she served in she was a lieutenant in Desert Storm and all of this. So you mean to tell me a $15 an hour paying job, okay? They want you to have 2-3 interviews. They want your damn credit score. They want all these references and all this crazy shit, okay? But you mean to tell me for a judge, okay, you didn't check that? You didn't check her background then. You couldn't do the math and tell that she was only 16 years old during Desert Storm. Quit playing with us, okay? You did not care, okay? That's who you put in front of the people, and the people didn't care. A good why? Because she was black and she was a woman and she was Democrat, and that's all y'all need to know. They also saying that when she reported her car stolen, okay, again, okay, back then, when she reported her car stolen, they got to all of a sudden going in her business and stuff and found out that she did a claim for a $19,000 ring, said it was supposedly, allegedly in the car. And they saying that she's been egregious and misleading and all this type of stuff got to do with this ring, child. But they probably know they can't really get nowhere with that, so they just going with the military service thing. Now, let me tell you why they really doing it, why they really mad, okay, why they really railroading her, all right? Because she done got her ass up there as a Democratic judge, all right, but told these people she was pro-life, okay, pro-veteran, pro-military, and anti-crime, okay? Now, none of those are bad things. That's the thing, okay? But the people still voted for her. Why? Because they don't really give a fuck about what your values are and what you really stand for. They care because you're black, you're a woman, and you're Democrat. So why does it matter now, though, you ask? I mean, is she not making good decisions on the bench? Is she railroading people? Is she doing all these things? No, she's not. It matters now, okay? Because they're losing in everything against Donald Trump, all right? And they need all the crooked people that they can, all right? They're trying to get rid of all the people, okay, with different values, okay, than them. Like, quit playing with us. Girl, she got a hearing May 23rd, and I will be there, okay, to cover it, because, child, we want to know the particulars and the details of what's really going on. But anyway, y'all be safe out there. Have a good day.
Husband that took all the money out the joint account with his wife that was a stay-at-home mom. Oh my God. But the husband must have came across my video and said, let me go ahead and put some money back in this account. Stay-at-home mom called me crying, said, oh my God. He literally put half of the amount that was in our account back in the account. I have access to the money now. Exactly 50% that was down the middle to the penny of what was in that account. He transferred back. She's crying literally in relief and excitement that she had access to the funds. Between the sniffles and the tears, she's saying that her parents had to assist her with paying for the mortgage and putting gas in the car. And now she's able to have some money that she's able to pay it back. And I just let her know, homegirl, I advise you just to open up a new account and transfer the money out. So there's nothing that is going into this account. You are able to access the funds. You're able to spend it the way that you want. Narcissistic people, let alone husbands, think that they can control every single last dime and everything that you do. So glad that as a stay-at-home mom and a provider for your children that you are able to have access to some funds. So baby, go ahead and open up a new account and transfer those funds out immediately. Go to the branch and go get a cashier's check and withdraw that money out the account. At any point, he can take it out.
This video is for retirees who think they're going to go buy property in Mexico, oceanfront, and think they own the whole beach. Think about it twice, because Hispanic and Latino cultures is loud and proud. So think about it twice. Here's a video of a lady trying to run people off the beach, and she got a big surprise. So here we go.
La historia está de que una señora quiso correo a unos nativos nayaricenses de aquí que vinieron a acampar y los corrió la señorita de esta obra. Entonces toda la comunidad, tanto norteamericana, se molestó, la que es de aquí de San Pancho, los que vienen aquí en San Pancho, y es por eso que se festejó el día de hoy para más que nada que las playas.
So there you have it. If you're thinking that you're going to buy oceanfront property and you're going to own the whole beach, you're not. Think about it twice.
You know, it's not many times they get that on-demand FAFO, and it involves a belt.
I'm the game day employee. Each time the employee takes off his belt and starts hitting the fan.
That was an usher for a Pittsburgh Pirates game who came to the defense of a female co-worker, and then the patron would not shut up until the cops arrived, continuing to berate the man and then going as so far as to spit on him. And then he found out real quick. He found out real quick when you spit on a grown man, you about to get spanked like a little baby.
So he gets into a fight with the usher. If the usher says, hey, you gotta leave, you gotta leave. But then someone wants to make this because the person should be prosecuted properly instead of getting a slap on the wrist, which happens too much in sports.
And most people at the game said the guy for the Pittsburgh Pirates was just standing up for his female coworker and then standing up for himself, because the guy continued to be belligerent, continued to be abusive, was spitting on the guy, etc., etc. So, bravo, my guy.
VA will be laying off 83,000 employees. This will mainly affect any veteran like myself who was being seen for mental health through the VA. Most civilians will not be impacted by this unless you have a relative or your partner is a veteran who was being seen for mental health. I want to say that this is surprising, but it's not. Americans as a whole, we are in the find out phase of fuck around and find out. What we have allowed our country to do to other countries is now happening to us. And I really wish Americans would make that connection.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, you are the best. If you are just seeing my lovely face for the first time, click the subscribe button and subscribe. Guys, I promise to bring you all the FAFO videos. And what do you have to say about these videos? I want you to comment, I want you to like, I want you to share. Let's hear what you have to say in the comment section. Thank you. I'm going to see you on the next one. For now, bye.